Welcome back, NFL fans. Week number 6, spread pick show, survivor pick at the end. Coming off my worst week of all time doing this show. It's been 3 seasons now, and last week was by far my worst week of all time. I went 2, 12, and 1. So pretty embarrassing. Hopefully you guys bet against me because you probably would have made a lot of money. Luckily for me, the 2 games I bet heavily on last week, like in real life, were the Giants +8, and then I had the Bills -14. And those were the only 2 that hit, so thank God for that. My DraftKings account didn't really suffer too much. But outside of that, I started off with win, and when I was doing it, I was like, okay, we're 2-0, so far so good. Then it was a tie, and then after that, it was 12 straight L's. Just imagine me sitting there going through each game being like L, 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 and it went on for 12 straight L's. It was insane. So Survivor did survive once again. I picked the Bills. They won very easily. That was a game that I actually got right for once. So the Bills won that game by, 30 points or something. The Steelers scored 3 points. It pretty much went as I expected it to go. So now on the season, I'm 30, 42, and 4. Not ideal. Got to get back to 500 at some point, but I don't know if it's going to happen now, so we'll see. Anyway, hopefully you guys enjoy the video. I will have the timestamps of each game in the description, and let's get into it. First game, the Niners are at the Falcons, and the Niners are 5-point favorites on the road. Not much of a surprise. They played Carolina last week. I picked Carolina because I figured nobody else would, but that was foolish. I mean, my God, the Panthers suck. But now Matt Rule's gone, so maybe that'll fix things, maybe not. PJ Walker's their starter, but we'll get into them later. So for this game, I'm looking at the Falcons. They have covered every game so far this year. They're 5-0 against the spread. The Niners have been very impressive. I mean, they did lose Emmanuel Mosley, one of their starting cornerbacks. That's going to hurt them. Maybe not so much in a game like this because the Falcons just don't pass the ball a lot. But at least for Atlanta, their offense, just looking at the season stats at least, they're kind of on par with the Niners. I would still take the Niners offense over the Falcons, but just by the numbers, the Falcons offense has kept up with them so far this year. The big discrepancy between these two teams is that the Niners defense is insanely good, possibly the best in the NFL, and the Falcons is bottom 10 in the NFL. So that's your whole big discrepancy, but it is 5 points. You have the Falcons who have not lost a spread yet this year. I'm going to hope it keeps going. I do think the Niners probably win this game. I guess Atlanta has somewhat of a chance, but I would still think the Niners win it. So I will take Atlanta +5. I don't love it. I didn't like this game really in general, but 5 points feels like a good amount. You have the West Coast team traveling east. Maybe it works out. I don't know, but I'll take Atlanta +5 for the first game. I just saw a tweet that the guys that mop the floor at NBA games make $80,000 per year. I mean, where did I go wrong in life? I got to get on that. Anyway, I don't know if that's true, but anyway, all right, so New England Patriots at the Cleveland Browns. The Browns are a -2.5. So the Browns have a couple of key injuries. Jadeveon Clowney remains out, but I saw Denzel Ward, their top corner, is out for this game. I believe it was a concussion. So you hate to see that. But against the Patriots, I don't think losing your top corner is the biggest deal in the world. Of course you don't want to, but this is, once again, it's not like the Patriots are going to take too much advantage of that. They're not really a high-volume passing team. They're not really a great passing offense in general. They had the one deep shot to, it wasn't even a deep shot, like a 20-yard throw to Jacoby Myers for a late touchdown last week, but the Patriots passing offense doesn't really scare me that much. The Browns defense, as I've said before, is probably one of the more disappointing units in all of football so far this year. They should be much better based on the talent they have on paper, but they have been awful this year. So the Browns defense, you would hope, gets better at some point. We're not sure if it's Zappe or Mac Jones yet, Bailey Zappe or Mac Jones. I saw Mac Jones. He was doubtful the past 2 weeks. Of course, he missed those games. But coming into Sunday, right now at least it's Friday, he is questionable for that game. So I would still expect Bailey Zappe to play, but we'll find out. The Patriots starting running back, Damian Harris is out. Ramondre Stevenson slides in. So that helps the Browns, of course. But I'll take Cleveland. I think Cleveland -2.5 is a fair number. If it was -3.5, I might have just taken the Patriots. I feel like 3 points is a very key number here. So the fact that it's -2.5, I will take Cleveland. I still think the Browns have a better roster. I mean, I don't know if I'm dumb saying that or not, but I think Cleveland does have a better roster. They are the home team. They're coming off a tough loss last week where they missed the 54-yarder by Cade York to beat the Chargers. So I would think the Browns are hungry here. The Patriots are coming off an ass whipping with the Detroit Lions. So I don't know. I just think the Browns are more hungry. They're the home team. I think they're more talented. Brissett has been fine this year. The Browns run game is like possibly the best in football right now. So give me Cleveland -2.5. Next we have the New York Jets. They're at the Green Bay Packers. Green Bay at -7.5. I do think these teams have the same record, right? I mean, Green Bay's 3-2. The Jets are 3-2. I don't think many people thought by week 5 these teams would be tied record-wise, but here we are. The Packers have never lost back-to-back games with Matt LaFleur as their coach. I believe that was since 2018, maybe 2019. So they've always bounced back. Of course, they lost in London to my Giants last week. Awesome game. But yeah, Green Bay looked really good in the first half of that game. A lot of quick passes. They were getting the ball to Rodgers' hands quickly. They were running the ball effectively. And it just felt like the Packers kind of big-brained themselves in the second half and just kind of beat themselves. I mean, of course, the Giants played very well. Daniel Jones played well, Saquon played well, but like the Giants defense was good too. But the Packers offense just went away from the running game completely. So I don't know what the hell was up with that. I would expect more of an Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon game in this one. So Green Bay should be more balanced, but 7.5 is a number that I think is pretty large for this Packers team. I mean, yeah, the Packers killed the Bears in week 2, but outside of that, the Packers have either been in close games or games they lost. And the Jets have at least gained my respect by this point. I don't think the Jets are a playoff team, but they feel like a 7 or 8 win team maybe. I don't know. I mean, Zach Wilson's been 2-0 so far. He hasn't been like spectacular, but he's managing these games. He's made some impressive throws, but he is winning so far. I do think Green Bay wins this game, but 7.5 feels like too many, so I'm going to take the Jets plus 7.5. I think Green Bay wins this game by like 4, 5, 6 points, but if that's the case, I'll take the W's, so I will take the Jets plus 7.5. Next, we have an AFC South matchup. The Jacksonville Jaguars on the road at the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts are favorites by 2 points. Just two teams that I can't stand. You know what I mean? Like coming into the year, I did my AFC South. I did predictions for each division, and I was pretty high on the Colts. I had them at like 10 or 11 wins. I figured they would win this division, and they still can, but like they just look so bad. I know, Shaquille, Darius Leonard's been out most of the year. Quentin Nelson has taken a step back. They have no left tackle. Matt Ryan looks awful. Jonathan Taylor got hurt, but he should be back this week. I mean, a lot of things have gone wrong for this Colts team. Even Kwity Paye got hurt, but he should be back eventually. It's just like, I don't know. This Colts team stinks. And then the Jaguars, they surprise all of us. They come out, they kill the Chargers like 38-10. And you're thinking like Trevor Lawrence is having great games now. Is he for real? And then he has 5 turnovers versus Philly the next week. It was in the rain, so I gave him a pass. And then he comes out the next week and puts up 6 points versus the freaking Texans. Like, it's ridiculous. I can't stand either of these teams right now. But with all that said, I'm going to take the Colts -2. The Colts have the extended rest. They're getting their best offensive player back, most likely in Jonathan Taylor. He practiced the past couple days. Be nice for my fantasy team if he comes back too. You just see too much inconsistency with these teams. You don't know what you're going to get, but I'm hoping that with Matt Ryan being old and getting 10 days off compared to 7, I'm hoping that helps in some type of way. They had extra time to prepare for this game. Jacksonville's coming off a pretty humiliating loss, and at least the Colts are riding off a win. It was a win that I don't know how they got. I guess Russell Wilson kind of gave them that win with the terrible end zone interception, but they did win the game nonetheless. I mean, yeah, the Colts might win this game in ugly fashion, but it is only -2, so I'll take the Colts, but I hate this game in general. Next, we have the Minnesota Vikings at the Miami Dolphins. It probably would have been a fun game if Tua or even Teddy Bridgewater were playing, but right now we're getting that Skylar Thompson guy, the 7th-round rookie. I don't know what to expect from him. I mean, the Vikings are favorites by 3.5 points, and when Skylar Thompson was playing last week, yes, he came in and didn't expect to play. It was Teddy Bridgewater starting last week, but it just seemed like the only offense the Dolphins had was just throwing screens to Tyreek Hill behind the line of scrimmage, and like that's just not sustainable. This Vikings team is pretty inconsistent. They are annoying, but they are 4-1, so I will say that. And the Vikings' weakness so far this year has been their pass defense. I feel like that's been the case for them the past couple years, but Minnesota's pass defense has not been good. But you're playing a seventh round rookie quarterback in Skylar Thompson. Like, I think I think the Dolphins might not be able to exploit the Vikings' weakness. Like, you're not going to see Skylar Thompson throwing 60-yard bombs to Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. I just don't see that being the case. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm underestimating the guy, but still. It's only 3.5 points. I mean, the Vikings are relatively healthy. They have Dalvin. They have Jefferson, they have Thielen, they have all these guys. I don't see a reason why they can't win this game by a touchdown or more. I know, like, sometimes playing in Miami kind of early in the season, it's very hot out and teams are not used to that, especially a team from Minnesota, but it is October now, so hopefully that's not a big issue. So I don't see a reason why the Vikings can't win this game by a lot. Miami's got a good defense, but even Xavier Howard missed last week. He might be out again this week. I forget what I heard about him, but it's just like the Vikings are healthy. They should win this game by a lot more than, 3 points. So I'll take Minnesota minus 3.5, but knowing them, they'll probably win by 3. Next, we have the Cincinnati Bengals. They are at the New Orleans Saints. The Bengals are a -2. So Cincinnati, we know the story. They've been disappointing this year. Their offensive line stinks, blah, blah, blah. Their defense is still good. Joe Burrow is not being very accurate. T. Higgins is injured, blah, blah, blah. But the Saints, on the other hand, have not been very impressive themselves. The Saints have been known for a really good defense since like the 2017 season. Kind of near the end of Drew Brees, the Saints defense really started to get a lot better, and it's been that way for a while. But the Saints defense so far this year, especially their pass rush, has not been that good. I don't know what their issue is. They still have Davenport. They still have Jordan. I don't know why they can't rush the passer. But the Saints, they still have some pretty major injuries. Jarvis Landry's out. Michael Thomas is out. Cornerback one, Marshawn Lattimore's out. Peyton Turner, one of their high picks a couple years ago, or maybe last year, I forget, but he's out. Chris Olave, questionable with a concussion, and we know that with these new concussion rules, it seems like if a guy gets a concussion, he's going to miss at least a game. So, I mean, I think Olave has been progressing nicely, I saw, but, like, you never know with these new concussion rules, I don't know. So if they're without their top 2 or top 3 wide receivers, they're without Jameis Winston, their quarterback 1, it's going to be a tough day for them, I feel like. I mean, maybe Taysom Hill has 4 touchdowns again, who the hell knows? But as I was saying, the Saints pass rush has been disappointing. And if you can't rush the passer versus the Bengals, they should be fine offensively. We saw in that Thursday night game versus Miami, it was a weird game. Tua had the injury. I'm sure everybody was spooked by that. But, Joe Burrow got hit like one time that game, and the Bengals offense looked pretty good. So this could be one of those games. I know the Saints have that reputation of being a great defense, but just looking at it this year, it has not been the case. And this game is at New Orleans. Of course, the Saints could have won. It's only a 2-point spread. But I just look at the Bengals. They have a solid defense. The pass rush for the Saints probably is not going to be overwhelming. I'm hoping that T. Higgins is healthier for this game. He did not play much on Sunday night for them last week. So, T. Higgins definitely opens up this offense a lot more and makes Jamar Chase's life easier. But hopefully he plays. And if he does, I think the Bengals can win this one by 3 or more. So I'll take the Bengals -2. Next, we have the Baltimore Ravens at my New York Football Giants. The Ravens are 5.5-point favorites on the road. And you can tell by that reaction, I'm taking the Giants. I mean, just too disrespectful. Put some respect on the Giants. What are we doing here? I know the Ravens, they probably should be 5-0. They blew multi-touchdown leads in the second half of the 2 games they lost this year. But hey, the Giants are very well coached, and I think they can keep them in this game. I mean, Saquon Barkley is going up against the run defense of Baltimore that has not been very good. Baltimore's secondary has not been great with allowing passing yards. They have been generating a lot of turnovers this year. That's why Baltimore's defense has been better this year. But still, I think Daniel Jones has done a better job of protecting the ball in recent years. And I know that narrative's out there that he's a turnover machine, but it's been a lot better since, his first couple years in the league. So the Giants offense should be fine in this game. I know that with Baltimore, you have to watch out for Mark Andrews, who's been on fire lately. Devin Duvernay can make some big plays, but Baltimore is without Marcus Williams, their best safety, and then they're without Rashad Bateman, their wide receiver 1. So it's going to be a lot of Lamar Jackson, possibly a big play from Duvernay. The Giants defense has the former Ravens defensive coordinator, Don Martindale. He knows that team, so hopefully that helps as well. But listen, I still think the Baltimore Ravens probably win this game, but if the Giants make a couple plays here that we're not expecting, they can outright win this game. So for this to be 5.5, I think it's too many points right now, so I'm going to stick with my Giants here until they tell me otherwise. So I'll take the Giants plus 5.5. Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think this game will probably teach us a lot about Pittsburgh. We know that Mike Tomlin has never had a record below 500, but his Steelers are now 1-4, I believe. So if they lose this game and get to 1-5, that is not going to be a good spot to be in. And the Steelers' schedule is tough. I know they have the Eagles coming up and like the Saints maybe. They got a tough schedule over there in Pittsburgh. So this is a game where the Buccaneers are favored by 8 points, and I'm picking Tampa Bay. I mean, Pittsburgh's offense has been dreadful. Tampa's defense, aside from that Chiefs game, has been pretty damn good this year. And the Steelers' pass rush, especially since TJ Watt's been out since week 1, has not been the same. And if you give Tom Brady time to pass, we know what's going to happen. I mean, the Buccaneers are getting healthier. They're going to have Chris Godwin at full strength now. Mike Evans is still there. You have Leonard Fournette, caught 10 passes last week, so that's pretty crazy. This Bucs team feels like it's moving in the right direction. They have Russell Gage, too, who's been pretty good at some points this year. The Steelers' offense with rookie quarterback Kenny Pickett, I mean, it struggled very much at Buffalo last week. No surprise, Buffalo at home is like the best team in the NFL, no doubt about it. But to put up 3 points in that spot, not the best. They blew a second half lead to the Jets, a 10-point lead in the fourth quarter right before that. So I don't know. I just don't feel good about Pittsburgh right now. I mean, I know Mike Tomlin has the reputation of like great coach and keeps them over 500, but this roster is just not good enough, I don't think. And I look at Tampa Bay, their roster is much better. They have the GOAT. So you know what? Give me Tampa -8. I know it's a lot, but I think Tampa should win this game by 10 or more. So I'll take the Bucs. Next, the Carolina Panthers are at the Los Angeles Rams. Rams are a -10, so still getting a lot of respect here. I mean, I don't know. I mean, the Rams have a lot of problems of their own, but the Panthers are in a much worse spot right now. I look at Sean McVay coming off bad losses, and I just feel like they always show up the next week. I mean, we saw this year going from week 1 to week 2. They lose week 1 to Buffalo, the first game of the year, and then they play the Falcons. They start up 28-3 in that game. Insert your jokes there. But they start up 28-3 against the Falcons. They almost blow the lead, but like to go up 28-3 in your bounce back game just shows me like, okay, like when the Rams want to turn it on versus bad teams, they can still do that. And they are the home team in this one, just like they were for the Falcons in week 2. And I just think that the Rams will kill them in this game. I mean, PJ Walker, we saw him, I think, a few times start games, and it was never that impressive. He'll have some garbage time moments, but if the Rams can't win this one by 2 touchdowns, I mean, that's pretty concerning. I know it's the NFL, and it's like, you got to take every team seriously, but like, my goodness, I know the Rams can't pass block for their lives. Their run game sucks. They just made Cam Akers a healthy and active, which is kind of weird. I don't know what's going to happen with him. We'll see if he's traded. I don't know. But Cooper Kupp's been amazing this year, but other guys have not stepped up. Van Jefferson has not returned yet from his injury. Allen Robinson seems like a huge waste of money. Seems like he's washed. But this seems like a get-right game. I think Matthew Stafford bounces back here, and if the Rams can't win this one by 10 or more, it's going to be a bad look, and it's going to be time to really start panicking about that team. So luckily, they get an easy game here. I will take the Rams -10, but you never know. It's a new quarterback, new head coach for Carolina. Maybe that just creates some spark for them. I have no idea, but I'll take the Rams -10. Next, we have the Arizona Cardinals at the Seattle Seahawks. Arizona's a -2.5 on the road. This game to me is pretty simple. It's just which offense do you trust more? I mean, you have the Seahawks defense and the Cardinals defense are possibly the 2 worst, maybe Detroit too, but like 2 of the 3 worst pass defenses in the NFL are in this game right here. So it's like, which offense do you trust more? And for me, as good of a story Geno Smith has been this year, he might be legit. I'm not saying Geno's going to be like a playoff winning quarterback anytime soon, but I think Seattle can put up good offensive numbers the rest of the year. I just don't think it'll amount to many wins because their defense stinks. So this is a game where I just think I trust Arizona's offense more. They don't have James Conner in this game, but is that really a bad thing? I mean, James Conner's looked terrible this year. So Eno Benjamin, who has more juice, is now the starting running back there, so I guess that's good news. They don't have DeAndre Hopkins yet. That's next week, but you still have Marquise Brown's been amazing. They got Rondale Moore back and more involved last week. They have Zach Ertz, who's playing pretty well. So, the Cardinals offense, I just trust it more. I know what Geno has done this year, and I know that the Seahawks just lost Rashad Penny. Kenneth Walker steps in. We'll see how he does, the rookie, but I just trust Kyler more. It's basically Kyler versus Geno for me, and it's like I'm taking Kyler. I know it might not be the right answer based on the numbers this year and blah blah blah, but like I'm still taking the Cardinals. So it's only 2.5 points. Arizona should win this game in my opinion. They took the Eagles, possibly the best team in the league. I'll say they're a top 3, top 5 team. I mean, the Bills are still number 1 in my opinion, but they took that Eagles team down to the wire. They should have went to overtime with them, but they missed the field goal. So I will take the Cardinals -2.5 on the road. Next, we have the Buffalo Bills at the Kansas City Chiefs. Of course, could be the matchup of the year. This has been the AFC Championship the past 2 years, I believe. Actually, no, it's not. I'm wrong about that. They met in the divisional round last year, but that kind of felt like the championship round, not going to lie. And then, of course, the Bengals beat the Chiefs. We know how that went. But anyway, the Bills are a -2.5 on the road. This is the first time in the Patrick Mahomes era as a starter that the Chiefs are home underdogs. Pretty impressive stat right there, because Mahomes has been the starter there since 2018. So, wow. So, I'm still going to take Buffalo. I just think the Bills are a better team, plain and simple. I know they've had some injuries the past few weeks on defense, but I just look at this Bills team and they have more firepower. I think with the Chiefs, of course, Travis Kelce's awesome, but like that's about it. I mean, you have a running back rotation that's kind of weird with McKinnon and CH, and then you have Pacheco, the rookie. It's like a weird running back rotation. Juju Smith-Schuster just... he's not him. I don't know how else to say it. He's not a wide receiver 1. Valdez-Scantling had a decent game last week, but like he's just been very inconsistent throughout his entire career. And, you know, McCole Hardman, guys like that are just not consistent. So I just think this Bills team just has more firepower. I trust Stephon Diggs. I trust Josh Allen. Gabe Davis is healthy off the ankle injury. Just had 165 yards or whatever it was last week and 2 long touchdowns. We saw what Gabe Davis did last year against this team in the playoffs. And when these teams played in Kansas City in the regular season last year, the Bills won that game like 38-20. So I'm not saying that'll happen again, but I just think the Bills are a better team. They can rush the passer better. So you know what? I'm going to take Buffalo -2.5, but Kansas City's home. Great crowd, great team. Anything can happen. And as long as that Chiefs offensive line plays up to par, which is like what they did versus Tampa a few weeks ago, they can beat anybody. So I'm not saying it's like impossible for the Chiefs to win, but I just think most times when these teams play, the Bills are the better team. They had them beat in the playoffs last year. They killed them in the regular season last year. I'm going to go with Buffalo -2.5. Next is the Dallas Cowboys at the Philadelphia Eagles. I will be rooting for the Cowboys here, which is horrible to say, but I have to. All right, so the Eagles are a -6.5 at home here. And I'm going to take the Cowboys. I disrespected the Cowboys last week. They were a +5.5 at the Rams, and I was like, the Rams will bounce back. And then, like, no, the Rams were freaking terrible. The Cowboys, once again, played amazing defense, had a fumble, recovered, brought it back for 6. I mean, the Cowboys defense has been really good this year, and it's time to start respecting them. This is probably the best team that the Eagles have played so far this year. I don't remember their schedule off the top of my head, but like the Eagles, maybe the best team they played this year is Minnesota. Maybe it's Arizona, probably Minnesota. They took care of them pretty easily, but like that was primetime Kirk Cousins. You kind of just throw it out the window, you know what I mean? So I think Dallas will give them a decent fight. I know Dak Prescott has a chance to play. I don't expect it. So it's probably Cooper Rush once again, and he's been fine, very competent. And I think the Dallas Cowboy running game with Tony Pollard, he's broken off some big runs recently. Zeke has been, just decent. He's had 3-4 yards a carry. He's doing all right, but I think this Cowboys offense can move the ball well enough, and the Cowboys defense is pretty impressive. I know the Eagles, what they bring to the table, the Eagles offense is very tough to stop. They've been unbelievable in second quarters this year. I don't know why, it's very random, but that's how they are. So yeah, of course Philly can blow them out in this game, but I just think Dallas deserves more respect. I think +6.5 is way too many, so I'm going to go with Dallas in this one. Monday Night Football, the Broncos are at the Chargers. The Chargers are a -4.5. I mean, I just got to see it first from the Broncos to buy into them. I bought into them last week. I mean, they played Thursday, so I didn't pick them on the show, but I picked them in like my, money line pick 'em pool thing, and I felt pretty good about it. It seemed like the Broncos had that game locked up, and then Russell Wilson just went full 2019 Jameis Winston and threw the game away. So I don't know what happened there, but the Russell Wilson thing came out that he had like a labrum injury, says he's feeling better. I mean, whatever, we'll see. I just have to see it to believe it. I just don't believe in this Broncos team right now. Losing Javonte Williams for the year and having to downgrade to Melvin Gordon and Mike Boone is a pretty significant loss for that team. I think they'll feel it. I really do feel if like the Broncos had Javonte Williams on that Thursday night game, they probably score a touchdown and they probably win that game. So, I mean, not having him and having to go for Melvin Gordon is not what you want. For the Chargers, I mean, they're figuring things out offensively. There's a chance they get Keenan Allen back. I don't know if they'll rush him back for this game or not, but he's been out since week 1, so we'll see if he gets back or not. But Austin Eckler's been on fire lately. Mike Williams has been good. So I just think that this Chargers team can put up points, no doubt about it. But then you look at the Broncos, and like their offense sucks. They're on the road. It's only 4.5 points. So I'm going to take the Chargers. Of course, anything can happen here. The Broncos have a ton of time off. They're going to play. They haven't played since last Thursday, and they're not going to play until Monday. So a lot of time off there for the Broncos. That goes in their favor. The Chargers are coming off a very hard-fought game in Cleveland last week. So, okay, maybe that factors into it. But I just think the Chargers are a better team by a good amount. So I'll take LA minus 4.5. And for Survivor this week, so I have used the Ravens, the Broncos, the Bengals, the Packers, the Bills. My pick for week 6 is going to be the Rams. The Rams are home versus the Panthers with PJ Walker and a new head coach. If they can't win that, you might as well take their Super Bowl away from them last year. That's sad. So I will take the Rams here. Survivor's the only thing I have going for me right now. So please don't blow that one, LA. So we'll find out what happens there. But I feel pretty good about it. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hopefully I can switch things around and go 12-2 this week, although I don't think there's that many games because there's bye weeks, but you get the point. Hopefully we kind of switch that record around. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll talk to you guys next time.